I was scared of what was to come next, but nothing could have prepared me for the pure satisfaction that this LP brought me. Welcome to Everyone Does Music, where today we're taking a look at the 7th studio album from band Volbeat called Servant of the Mind. I actually just recently did a review of their last album, Seal the Deal Nuts Boogie, which has been performing obscenely well on my channel, so I'm going to do a bit of a self-plug here, because not gonna lie, I'm a little proud of that video, and proud of the response it's been getting, so here's a picture of it. I'll link down in the description. That's a self-plug out of the way. Let's get to the actual point of this review here. Servant of the Mind. Sorry, I don't get to feel myself every now and then. So a little bit of that was cringy. Let's consider that was cringy. To give sort of a similar introduction to this album as I did for the last album, back in 2016, The Devil's Bleeding Crown was everywhere. You couldn't escape it, and I kind of resented the band and especially the song for that very fact. I couldn't go a whole day without hearing it on the bus to school, the bus from school, the radio on the way to the store, just Pandora, because I was using Pandora for some fucking reason in 2016. Like, there's nothing I could do to escape the song. But back in a couple months ago actually at this point, I finally gave the band a listen. I enjoyed the album, I enjoyed some of their older material, and I realized they're releasing this new album, here that we're discussing, and not gonna lie, I had excitement. I had excitement for a band that a year ago I despised just for my lack of knowledge. I despised the band purely because I didn't know anything about them, and I had no desire to know anything about them. But shit, here we are. If there's one thing for sure, straight from the get-go, straight from the first moments of this album cycle, the vocalist Michael Paulson has not sacrificed his range, both vocally or emotionally. While he has the ability to go from anthemic arena rock to pure metal singing sensibilities, as well as the occasional screams and growls, what I got in the first couple singles, Wait a Minute My Girl, and I'm gonna butcher this, I apologize. I tried to look up the pronunciation of this and I found a couple different ones. I'm just gonna do my best here. Dagen 4. What I found there was the last thing I expected from Volbeat, but in the most positive way possible. That's all my reviews seem to say that at some point. Oh, I didn't expect this, but it was great. Does that just mean I'm stupid? Is that the message here? Let's get back to the album before I self-depreciate it anymore. This is the first time with this band I've had to actually stop the album completely, step away for a second, take in what was happening around me. This was the first time I had to stop and really just reabsorb what the hell I just listened to. This piano, sax, and jazz in what is pretty much just a real, on the surface level, simplistic rock song. Like, this is Volbeat leaning purely into just the rock version of themselves. And seemingly the song, tone-wise, serves a similarly simplistic motive, just being a love ballad, and it's, like I said, the last thing I expected from Volbeat after an album like Let's Seal the Deal and Boogie, or Seal the Deal and Nuts Boogie, I always get the name mixed up. I really expected them to come roaring out of the gate with something like akin to Gojira or Mastodon levels of power, but instead we got this, and I realized, okay, we're about to get a diverse album, to say the least. I mean, Volbeat is 7 albums in. They're a world-renowned band. They're one of the biggest bands in their home country, if not the biggest band. It's not like they're all of a sudden going to switch things up, and I never had that fear for a second. I welcome this change, and I welcome this new element to their discography with open arms. Michael Paulson also doubles down on his work with guitar work throughout the album, as in addition to work from Rob Cacciano, I think is the way he pronounces his last name. I apologize if I got that wrong again. Multiple pronunciations. And on the other side of the dual single between Wait a Minute My Girl and Dagen 4, Dagen 4 features more of the simplistic, similar instrumental, vocal, and story elements here, but also has the inclusion of another vocalist, and another name I'm probably going to butcher because the internet lies to me. Stein Bramson, who provides both Danish and English lyricism here, adds a layer to Volbeat that I didn't quite get a whole bunch on Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie, but I really wanted from the band. I could be completely having a memory lapse here, perhaps. In older albums, they pull an avatar and sing their native language a little more, but hearing the singing from their native language or singing from a different language completely is something that I always welcome into songs, because I feel like it adds a new element, obviously, and not just for the sake of adding it in. It takes a lot of effort to have somebody come in and produce a whole different linguistic style of singing. And overall, the first 2 singles from this album, again, definitely not what I was expecting, but had me just more and more anticipating the actual full release of the album. And don't worry, if you heard those 2 albums' lead singles and you're like, okay, this isn't what I want. Literally the first song of the actual album, Temple of Ikur, it settles all your doubts, puts them in a coffin, and leaves them in the dark. Pure metal music behind a soaring vocal performance and all the biblical references and Greek references that you can come to expect from the band. A lot of bands in multiple genres use biblical references, and they use like ancient terms to try and bring a sense of grandeur and big, like just bigness to a song here. But Volbeat, purely for the vocal delivery of Michael Paulson as well as the astounding efforts of the rest of the band backing him up, it actually feels like it deserves all these terms. It actually feels like the band isn't just putting these terms into the song just for the sake of making it sound good. They're doing it because there's love and attention to detail, as well as just the sense of, okay, we know what we're doing here. We need to keep doing that, and we'll make a good album here. That's what's happening here. I unfortunately haven't had the time to fully commit the rest of Volbeat's discography to memory. I know that currently it's a tie between this album and the album that came before Seal the Deal for my favorite Volbeat album. But there's, I don't know if this is new or just like something I've always done, but the biblical references and just the overall, I'm just going to keep calling them ancient references at this point. They keep going on this album here with songs like The Sacred Stones. Song kicks in and you're immediately greeted with the following lines. Give me a sign, dear Father of darkness. In the light I'm no good. I'm dying to assemble the darlings. My faith in God is so low. That is breathtakingly wonderful lyricism. I also thought it was pretty interesting. This isn't a critical thought, just a thought I had in my mind when I heard this song. This song started up and I had feeling, it sounded very similar to Cerise by Ghost, which is really ironic considering the two bands are going on tour in like January and February. Despite the two lead singles, I feel like Volbeat really leans into more of a darker edge and a darker element of their own sound with this album. The band's adaptability to all forms and facets and corners of rock and metal really shines on this album here. You have a song like I just discussed there, lead singles, those are two very different elements, and then you have another sort of similar to Temple of Ikur and Sacred Stones, but still technically a different element here with the song Devil Rages On. The song's more aggressive tone and again darker lyricism here, leans into not only exactly what the metal genre is made to be, but it feels like the song could fit in both in terms of just overall sound and setlist capability next to Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, big air quotes here, mainstream metal bands, if Volbeat isn't already a mainstream metal band. I think they are, but whenever I bring up the band, they're like, oh yeah, no, they're like an indie band. The fuck you mean? I know I already did a lyric quote and I try to keep it to one video, but I gotta do another one here, because there's a line here that just chef's kiss, it's beautiful. Here it is. The chorus of The Devil Rages On goes, Babylon, Beelzebub, sweet is the calleth of him. Hell has decided, I'm more than delighted. God motherfucking damn! It's very easy to just inject references to God, the devil, hell, and heaven, just for the sake of it. Just put into the song and say, oh yeah, we got that dark, edgy metal vibe to it. Look at us, we're big shit. And a consistency that Volbeat has shown throughout their discography just through the past 3 albums. In fact, to these themes, the themes discussed here, it really shows that the band, again, knows what they're doing. They know how to create something listenable, enjoyable, and they're using it to full effect here to create something just honestly magical. Also, another quick point here, I focus a lot on Michael Paulson in terms of like actual talking points from song to song, but the guitar work in the bridge here of The Devil Rages On is probably my favorite guitar section of the entire album. I can harp on and on about how I love all these songs that reference the devil, the gods, fuck, who knows what they're going to reference next, the 10 Commandments. But I want to talk about the last song here in particular that I want to speak on is a song that's actually a cover. But it sounds like it's still Volbeat's song even after going and listening to the original song. This feels like it's Volbeat's song now. This is a cover of the song Domino by The Cramps. This song feels like it could have been a direct B-side to Seal the Deal. It's a constant stuttering vocal tone, attention to detail, making sure every member of the band gets to shine, even the bass shows up like thoroughly and fully, which I'll admit this is probably the least impressive album in terms of bass elements here, but this song really, all of a sudden they bring him up and it's like, hey Casper, do your thing. And the way this song comes in during the end of at least the deluxe edition of the album, which I think if the album comes with the deluxe edition immediately, listen to the deluxe edition, just save yourself the effort, get what's intended to be the full experience. I think when you take a song like this cover here of Domino by The Cramps, you take a song like Wait a Minute My Girl, then you take a song like The Devil Rages On, Volbeat is once again showing that they have an extremely powerful mind for adaptability, a powerful mind for making sure that there's several different elements being represented. It's several different lyrical themes and a lot of different stories being told in the album while not straying too far from the pack. Volbeat is still very much a metal band, but they do everything in their power here to inject new elements and constantly keep the listener guessing as to what's going to come next. All in all, this is another exceptional album from Volbeat. They delivered several songs here of specific note that I talked about, but realistically, every song on here is a treat to listen to, and you need to listen to the album in full. And as a personal note, once again, I'm left with this feeling of pure fucking spite towards myself for not hopping on the boat sooner with this band. I should have listened to my friend back in high school when she said, hey, I'm going to the Volbeat concert, you want to come with? But no, I was dumb and spiteful. Regardless, Servant of the Mind by Volbeat gets an 8.2 out of 10. That's a review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with my choices here? Did I miss something? Did I not talk about something enough? Or did I completely skip over something that you wanted to hear talked about in the review? Comment it down below. Let's get a conversation going. But above all else, stay hydrated. Have a good day.